You and I were going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And we decided...
I was done with your ass.
Yeah, you kicked me to the curb.
I was done with you.
Yeah.
Marriages have that, though. Marriages have that.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, I think from there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement.
This is Vivian Velasquez.
And this is Raul Velasquez.
Welcome to the God, Money, and Purpose podcast.
Welcome to the God, Money, and Purpose podcast. My name is Raul Velasquez. I'm here with my beautiful co-host,
Vivian Velasquez.
And if you're watching this through Facebook Live, just comment below and let us know that you're with us. If you're hearing this from iTunes, just make sure you subscribe. If you're watching this through our YouTube channel, just make sure you leave a comment, you subscribe, and you join us in this conversation because today's topic is a controversial topic. So what are we going to talk about today?
I don't think it's controversial. I think it's something that's out there, and I don't know. We really haven't talked about it, so I want to see how this is going to go. And most of the time, we try not to talk about it. But this is, if you haven't heard about it, this is something that's been for a couple of days, maybe a week now, about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, and she had an affair a couple years back, and all of this has just resurfaced because of her lover has come up and given some information about it because he wanted to get it out of his chest, and it kind of just brought up so many things for them, right? So I don't know. I don't really know where it's going to go, but I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. And everything that we say here is a lot to do with how we see things, the things that we value, because, as I was looking at it, all the videos and all this YouTube stuff, I could only speak from the place that I value most in my relationship and how I filtered things through my eyes. So this is a total my opinion type of thing. This is kind of how we just want to give us some feedback as to maybe even what we can learn from
that's
this
the
thing,
whole point.
right?
We're not here to judge because we're not in that relationship. We don't know them to see what happened inside the home, but we're here just to kind of dissect this to see what can we learn from this experience. Because I think that this is kind of like a man's worst nightmare, right? One, having to talk about his wife's affair. Two, coming in public and addressing the public and being out in the open about it, and you kind of see the pain in that video, in that relationship. So I want to talk about the three things that I learned. So I don't know if you could share the
I learned three things too. I learned a couple of different things, but one of the things that I really didn't like, and I know that they're a public, figure, but I just think it's so sad that people just say so many negative things about the relationship. And, to begin with, they already have this, responsibility to how they look in public's eye, and all of a sudden this comes forth, and it's even more, and people are so spoken about things, and we're so quick to judge other people's relationship, other people's character, and it's when you're in those shoes, we would probably react the same way or worse, because I have to tell you, I learned a lot about them, and I know that relationships are one of the hardest things. And I, in the past, when we were at the beginning of our relationship, I would often tell you, and I don't know if you remember this, I would tell you, Raul, if you ever cheat on me, I would totally just not even fight for you. I would just walk away. I'll pick up my, my 4 little panties, because we had no kids then. We waited a long time to have kids. I would pick up my 4 little panties and I would just walk away because I would not fight for it. And, we live and we learn. And I often say we can't call ourselves an expert on love, even though we've been married 20 years. But I feel nobody's really an expert, because love is ever changing. Love is always just, evolving. And if we don't evolve with it, then it's okay, that's where we get stuck, and that's the challenge.
I want you to understand also, if it doesn't matter how long you've been married, because this could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, this could happen to people who are married, 2 years. It could happen to people who are married 50 years. I mean, I think that's the first
love is so not predictable.
Part of the lesson is that it doesn't matter how much money you have, Doesn't matter how long you've been married.
No, love is
Doesn't
love.
matter who you are. Like, the relationship is the hardest fucking thing
Yes.
out there. I mean, look,
Yes.
Will Smith, they must have hundreds of millions of dollars. There's no shortage of money.
Money.
There's no shortage of things that they could do to spice up the relationship. No shortage of things that they could do to actually bring passion back.
Yes,
But at the end of the
yes, they have
day,
all of it.
if you're not putting in the work, shit like this will happen. So the first lesson that I
Yes.
got out of it is, and we have an idea as a man that the more money I make, the more successful I am, the bigger, of impact I could make, my wife is gonna see me through different eyes. But look, how more of an iconic figure can you get than being Will Smith? I mean, if Will Smith gets cheated on, there is no hope for guys like us. It's like, fuck, like we're like a movie star, a rapper, an artist, a guy who's an icon out there. It still has the same relationship problems that mere humans like you and I have.
Yes, because we all have the same problems, and that's what I often say. Like when we talk to different couples, and I often say like we all have the same similar problems at a different time, with a little different situation. Like just change the story, and then we've all gone through the same thing, right? And one of the biggest things that I learned from her, and I was listening to her, and the clip that she puts herself into, her Red Table Talk, it's very short. And I thought, like, I was listening to it. I listened to it a couple times with you, and I listened to it myself. And I thought it was just like the beginning of more, because it was very like small information that she gave, right? But one of the biggest things that stood out to me was when she said is like she was looking for something to make her feel good. And for me, it was like, oh my God, like I feel her pain, because it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter who you're married to. It really comes back to like what you want. And when she said that, was like, yes, girl, like I get it. You were trying to look for something to make you feel good. And then to me, it's like just the what I always talk about with my queens, with my women, it's like you can't look for an outside validation to make you feel good, because I've done that. Like, like we look for like outside sources, like, buying clothing or food or, whatever makes you feel good. And then whenever that one thing is gone, whether it's your husband, a boyfriend, clothing, hair, accessories, whatever it is, makeup, and then when that's gone, or when you don't have enough money, or when you don't have access to it, then it's like, oh, okay, what happens then? And then you still feel empty on the inside. And for me, that was just like, that's such a, like, it's a point that we all go through, especially for women, especially for me, was like, yes, like, I get it.
But see, as
You
a man,
had no way out, so you went to the boyfriend idea.
yeah, but see, as a man, I'm putting myself in Will Smith's shoes and thinking, when I hear that, it's like, fuck, where did I fail as a man?
Yeah.
Where did I fall short as a man? And I think that, I honor him for holding the space for his woman to actually do this. And you could see the body language, how hard it was for him, because even
Of
though they
course.
play it out as like, oh, this happened years ago, we worked it out, we went to therapy, we're getting this thing. I think that those wounds never heal completely. And especially now they have to relive that experience.
That's
you could
the
see
hard
it in his
part.
body language,
That's
even
the
like
hard
how
part.
hard it is for him to say,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna protect you, because I think that's where, as men, we need to look at ourselves like, where did I go wrong? If your wife is having an affair, of she's looking for love somewhere else, like, okay, what did I do in order for me to push her away? Or sometimes not even the man's fault, and we don't know the situation, but at the same time, I think one of the things that I got from her, and she said she was looking to save people.
Yeah.
She was attracted to that savior mentality. And I talk about this with my guys all the time. The guys that I coach is like,
It's a
the
project.
savior always gets crucified. And that's what happens. And we look for women that we want to save. And then what happens? We look for a woman that's a project, and then she all of a sudden she builds herself up, and then she has her own confidence, and she's has her own podcast, and all of a sudden now we have to fight for attention.
Yes.
Because now we're not the primary source of attention, or maybe kids come up, and then we're not the primary source of attention. So therefore, that's where the savior mentality says, well, where am I? And for women, it's the same thing. You're looking for a project. I mean, I watching that video made me realize that when you and I got married, I was the project. You helped me pass my classes in school. You helped me, do the thing. So then what happened is, when you get with a project, whether it's a man or a woman, and both of you are growing and becoming your own identity, that's when the polarity starts to shift. So I don't know if you picked that up, but I saw the polarity that Jada had. She was very like, I'm in charge. I'm gonna tell you what happened, and I'm gonna set the table here. And Will was just like very submissive, saying, "Hey, you know, whatever." Like it's like the polarity has shifted, the masculine and the feminine shifted. So therefore, the roles were reversed.
And I think it's really hard even for a man to come and to support and to be in like holding the space, like you said, for his wife, because nowadays, like we're so quick to judge that. It's like, oh, you know, like if you're talking to your girlfriends and you say, well, my girlfriend cheated on me, my husband cheated on me, the first thing that comes to your mind is like, well, leave him. Like, you deserve better. You don't need to be there. Walk away, whatever it is. It's like that mentality, right? So it's like and that's kind of like, oh my God, they're such, I wouldn't say better people, but they made such better choices that, because I know like I would have been like, okay, peace out. And maybe you would have said the same thing, right? Like you wouldn't expected that from me. So you probably would be hurt. And we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And that's what like we can be quick to judge. But that's really hard. That's really like the next level for somebody to be like there with you and forgive you and continue to support you like that. And that's like my thing. Like that is love.
Well, that's what I was going. Like that he is a much better man than I am for being able to do that. I don't know. I'm at that level of being able to say, hey, you know, I'm gonna love you unconditionally. I'm gonna love you, you know, even if you cheat on me, I'm gonna love you even if you go through this. I mean, fuck, like that's a lot of love. And you could see that's genuine from him. You could see that he truly loves a woman and worships that woman to the point that if you look at the end of that video, when she said something, you know, another lesson, another impact that I picked up on was she said that I didn't know if you had the capacity to actually love me the way that you love me
for who I
am.
Yeah.
And then he asked, "How am I doing?"
Yeah.
And that's when she was like, "You're doing pretty good," but she shake her hands. No, it's like she's still like there's still something in there. And as a man, all we want is to be a woman's hero. All we want is for you to say, you know what, you're my hero. You know, you're doing great.
Yes.
You do. But I think that's what he was always yearning for her, saying, "Fuck, like I'm Will fucking Smith. What the fuck else do you want?"
Yeah,
you
but
know,
that's
where else do you
him.
have like? But where else do
That's
you wanna go to find that connection? So it has not to.
I know.
And when she went back, she was like, she was looking for a project. The moment that Will Smith was no longer a project, that she went to somebody else. And too bad that there was a young guy that was in
Just
the
got in the
middle of
way.
it. That's the way. But that's another lesson, you know, that I got from it. Like,
He just got in the way. That's my mom always said, don't let anyone into your house if they don't need to be there, because it's like they don't belong there. Why are you putting like this temptation in the middle of things? Because here's the thing, my second point that I learned from her was, and I wrote it down, she has such emotional insecurity in herself that it had nothing to do with her husband. And I think a lot of the times we're like, it has nothing to do with your husband. Like you go out there, and this is something that I read from an amazing author. Her name is Esther Perel, and she has this book called Mating in Captivity. And she talks about affairs, and she does an amazing job at it. If you haven't heard from her, like pick up her stuff. And she talks about how like emotionally we're looking for this insecurity, and emotionally we're looking. So the reason she says is like the reason why we look for affairs is not to really have an affair, especially for a woman, but it's to actually remember and to be the person that we were before. So like we give ourselves permission as a woman to actually be with another man, and we remember who we were, and then we act as like we are brand new. So it's like everything is brand new. The relationship is brand new. The way you act, the way you dress, everything. And we often talked about this too. And we say like, why can't you be that person with your husband? And that's a whole different topic. But that's what she was looking for, like that emotional insecurity that she had, not with him, but with herself. Like she was going through this roller coaster.
So how do you, and understand that, how does a man help a woman that's going to the roller coaster? Because I'm pretty sure they had resources. They went through a lot of work, but I'm looking from the perspective of, here's a guy, obviously loves his woman.
Yes.
But, another thing that I picked up at the end was like, she said, like, he was like, I'm going to get you back. I'm gonna get you back. So
And
I
she was
don't
like,
know.
I'm sure you got me back.
So I'm thinking there might be some other trust issues that happen that trigger that reaction for her.
Well, do you know that he was married before? That he had a first marriage. And he was with the first marriage and knew Jada along the way.
So maybe that subconsciously, you know,
Maybe.
and again, we're speculating because we don't know, you know, if this is fact. But then again, women are constantly men too. We are manifesting what we think is going to happen. So if you think he's going to cheat on me or he's not thinking about me, all of a sudden you create that energy. You create that energy of separation, and maybe that's where, you know, she was actually looking for. You know what? You know, you got me back many times that you were cheating on me, or you were out there, or you were doing whatever you were doing, and she was just wanted to be in a space of, well, let me do it too.
And I don't think so. Like I think that, you know, to me, the way that it looks is like if you are in this relationship and you've been fighting through all these things, like to be in a relationship for this many years, and you and I both know that, like, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of energy. So like for them to be there, it's like they've already gone through the struggles. And I don't think he was looking for something or someone else or her. It's just, you know, again, it's like it was her own insecurities. It was her own, like, kind of like, I didn't know where else to go, and then this young kid is here and it's something new. Maybe he was working too much or he wasn't home. There was nobody to give that attention to her that she needed. But then again, we go back and it has nothing to do with this outside sources and validation. It has a lot to do with how we feel on the inside.
Yeah, and you start looking at these consequences, because I think that we look at the behavior, but at the same time now we have another young man that comes in, and now he's going through his own journey.
Yeah.
So we look at healing, and you know, I love what she says. I'm looking to heal, but she's trying to heal herself, and then through somebody else. And that's one of the things that we do when you start looking at fixing ourselves through other people. We're looking to save other people, whether it's fixing ourselves through affairs, with drinking, or businesses. We start focusing on the outside Band-Aid versus going inside and said, fuck, I'm the problem. I'm the one that's not right. I need to figure this out through my own search instead of using other people to put a Band-Aid.
And I think that's what I loved about them the most right now. What they did is like they came out and they cleaned the space, and you know, people see it wrong or short or whatever it was, like tried to like chew them up for it, but it's like they came out and they cleaned the space between the two of them, which is the most important thing because nobody else matters. But to clean the space between what people say, what people like, the gossip, it's like, hey, we're here to take responsibility for us. We're letting you in because we're in the public eye, and that's all to it. But like, even for her and for him to be there and say whatever it is that they need to be said, it's just something to be learned, because it's like, okay, I'm going to put a stop to this bullshit right now. This is where we are. Like, this kid came.
Well, see, the energy that she has, so I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, 100%, I was triggered as fuck. When I saw that, I'm like, fuck. I'm in Will Smith's team. As I think as a man, we look at like, fuck, how could this happen? You know? How could this happen? And not necessarily how could this happen? It's more of like, why are they even doing this, right? Why are they even addressing it? And when she's a strong woman.
Black woman, yes.
It's a strong woman. And I think it takes a certain type of man to be able to be with a type of woman like that. Like, I think there's a lot of divorce going on right now because when man and woman evolve and you have two strong people, they don't know how to connect as strong human beings.
Yeah.
Because women are always attracted to projects, men are always attracted to projects, and the moment that both people level up, like, fuck, like we're become disconnected because what we used to attract us before no longer attracts us. Because now we have to look for different types of connection. So I think that when I saw both of them in there, like, fuck, it was kind of like a cleaning the space, but at the same time I was triggered as fuck to realize that this could happen to somebody like Will Smith, happen to anybody.
It could happen to anybody.
And at the same time, it just gives me an opportunity to say, like, nobody is perfect. Like, don't, like, if you're watching this, like, don't hold us as being the perfect couple after 20 years. Like, shit, if that happened to Will Smith, make sure I'm checking who's coming into my house. Who's coming into my house? I'm gonna have cameras in there.
That's right. You better check. You better check, because you never know who comes in or who comes out.
But at the same time,
but
too,
I know who I am. Excuse me. Thank you very much.
But at the same time, it's beautiful to see that we could learn from somebody else's mistakes, because a smart person learns from his experiences. A wise person learns from somebody else's experiences. So don't let this just be gossip and just be a video that's out there and chew them up. Just ask yourself, when you watch this video, how am I doing in my relationship? How am I showing up? How am I attracting a victim mentality? How am I not supporting my partner to
am
be
I
able to
showing
grow?
appreciation to my husband, because my husband, or my better half, or my lover, whatever you want to call the person? Am I showing up? Am I showing affection? Am I taking care of myself? I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like, am I taking care of myself to fully be in this relationship, and just to like find happiness not on someone, something, but on myself? And that's one of the biggest things that I always come away with. It's like, the happiness cannot depend on anyone or anything else, but it has to come from you. And when that happiness is inside of you, whether it's very little or very big, like, it shows. Because, like, I mean, you see our journey, Raul. Like, there is so much work that I've done on myself, and it's like a constant daily thing that I really take care of myself, and not like the outside adornment, but it's the inside of me that it's like, I ask God every single day. It's like, give me the discernment to know what it is that I need to love myself, so the people that come in the closest proximity of me feel the love and know that it's not me, but it's God's love, right? So it's like that we forget. And I think I was just talking to my mom about it today. It's like, if we talk about God so much because he is that answer for us. Because if, I know that there's a lot of people out there, maybe even listening to this, that don't have the relationship with God. So if you don't have the relationship with God, then where does the love come from when we don't feel the love? Like, this woman could be many of us. When we don't feel that love, then where do we go? Who gives us that love? When our husbands are not there, or when they cheated on us, or when they betrayed us, or when that happens, like, who replaces that? And the only one that could do that, and has done that for me and continues to do that for me, is God. And if it's not God for you, I pray that it's like your God, the stars, Mother Earth, whoever it is. Like, allow yourself to find that place that brings you happiness, because you can't depend on anything or anyone to do that for you.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And with that, I want to acknowledge the people who are watching us right now, and just comment below and let us know, what are you taking from this conversation? Again, we're not coming from a place of judgment, because we don't know them. And anybody who's in the public eye and has the balls and the courage to actually do what they did, it just, it takes a lot of courage. I was going to say balls, but both of them. It takes a lot of courage for them to show up that way.
And look, even like when I was seeing them at the end, just to have that unconditional love to show up. And I'm telling you, like, I don't know, like, if I would do the same if I was in their shoes. Like, we never know what we would do until we're in that situation. But just the example that they set for their family, the example that they set for their kids, like, not to give up on love when something like this happens, but to actually fight through it and stick together and not judge each other and point the fingers, but actually be there for each other. Like, wow, my heart, my head, whatever you want to call it, my hat goes out to them, because it's like, wow, like, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's at the same time, one of the things that I got from is, nobody could be perfect. That don't put people on a pedestal, because now a lot of people say, well, if these people have problems, then our problems are
we don't have problems.
Everybody has problems. Everybody has problems. So everybody has problems. Just because you think that you don't have the impact or the money or the success that these people have, money is not everything. Success is not everything. Impact is not everything. You have to focus on what you are doing, who you are. And if you're not feeding yourself, and that's one of the best things that I got from that video, is if you don't take care of yourself, you're always going to look for something else or somebody else to fulfill who you are. If you're always looking from the outside to fulfill the inside, you're already lost.
That's right.
So focus on you,
I
build
agree.
yourself up, make sure that you fill your cup before you blame your partner, before you look for the partner. And if you're married right now, just fill up your cup and just pour it to your partner. Constantly know that you're only going to be as good as where you are working on yourself. How much work you put in yourself is how much work you're going to put in a relationship. And maybe your partner right now is struggling. Maybe your partner is disconnected. At the end of the day, you're not the savior, you're the leader. And as a man, and if you've ever been through this situation, like I honor you for sticking to your woman, sticking for love. And there is no right or wrong in a way of how to create relationship. It's more of what do you want? What do you want? You want to be with a woman until the end of your days and be with her, fight for her. One of my clients that I coached a couple years ago, he was in the middle of divorce and he was asking me, Raul, should I divorce my wife or not? And I told him, I said, are you willing to die for her? Are you willing to die for her? Are you willing to do everything you can to fight for her?
That's like, I love you through anything.
And he said no. And I said, well, then that's your answer right there. If you're not willing to die for your woman, if you're not willing to go all in, then that's where you have to ask yourself, who do I need to become to be able to die for this woman? What kind of man do I need to be in order for me to let her know too that I'm going to be willing to die for? Because I bet that's exactly what this man, is thinking right now, sitting in that chair, is like, fuck, I'm willing to die for this one. I'm willing to put out there and be crucified, because I'm pretty sure the media, everyone's going to crucify Will Smith for being there, but he was willing to put himself out there to protect his queen because he loves her, and whatever problems they had, he's working shit out.
And here's another thing that it just got reminded from the book that I'm telling you about. And she said something so profound. And at the beginning, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that resonates with me, but it totally resonates now, because she said something along the line, and I'm probably butchering it, but it's along the line that in your relationship that you're in right now, you will die or you will leave the relationship that you're in, and you will come back to it again and again, but it has to be through a different person.
You have to divorce the version of yourself to be able to reconnect. And I think that's the best part, is when you are in a relationship, you are evolving. So you're not the same person who you were at the beginning. So you have to also create that new synergy and say, hey, this is where we're going. I think this is where we need to be. And I think the moment that you stop creating that synergy, that you stop putting that time in, that's the moment that you create separation. And at the same time, you start realizing that also proximity. Why is there so many affairs? Proximity. She started to coach the guy or help the guy. It's more connection. Same thing with men. I mean, that's one thing I tell my guys, like the moment that you have proximity and you put yourself at risk. Put yourself at risk. That's one thing that I tell my guys all the time. Don't put yourself out there at risk. Make sure that you know who you are. The older we get, unfortunately for men, the older we get, the more successful we become, the more attractive we become. And there's going to be a lot more opportunities. I mean,
you guys are like fine wine. You only get better.
My little girl was yesterday going through my DMs on my Instagram. She was like,
so jealous.
She was like, who's this woman testing you? Who's this girl? And I said, but at the end of the day, I know what I have. I know what I have. I know what I'm willing to die for. And I know that at the end of the day, when we're 100 years old, I want to see you by my side. I want to see us being able to look back and see, like, fuck, we went through hell and back, but we made it through.
You'll love me through anything.
And that's the game. And if you don't love your woman all the way to the end, then ask yourself, what are you willing to die for? What are you willing to do to be able to bring that connection, bring that passion? So even if situations like that happen, you're able to heal and forgive and be able to reconnect again.
I love that. Thank you, love.
So with that said, just comment below. Let us know. Again, we're not here to judge because we're not nobody to go after, what they're going through.
No, I think, you just need to learn from other people, from other couples, from love. That's the only way that we actually get to see like what, the insights on our own relationship. It's like, what can I learn from this? What is the gift between all these things that happen, that whether they're right or wrong, we don't know. But it's like, what could you learn?
Yeah, but Will Smith, man, you need to find the edge. Holla at me, man. Send me a text. We'll take it to a boot camp and we'll help you remember who the fuck you are, because you have to conquer your queen and you have to reunite that kingdom and bring back the fire.
I think he did it because he was like, I want you to, like, I'm trying to get you back or something.
Well, that's what he said. He said, I'm gonna get you back. And I think that he didn't say, I'm gonna get you back in a way. I'm gonna get you back in pen. I'm gonna bring you back. Because you truly see how he really loves her.
Oh yes, he does. He adores this woman. So I love that about them. There are very few couples out there that are willing to fight for love the way that they do. And I love to see that. That's, you and I stand for that too.
At the same time, what you said, if it's not God in your life, if it's not a higher power, there's always going to be something else that you're going to look for, that you're going to chase, that you're going to think that is going to fulfill you. So find God, connect, have a deeper relationship. And, nobody's perfect. And whenever you doubt, whenever you have fear, just know that if you're with your woman, if you're with your man, and God put you guys together, is for a reason. You have to make yourself stronger. You have to sharpen your skills, and you have to level up, because that's the only way to make it through relationships. The hardest thing that we're ever gonna do. So follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, follow us everywhere except for our bedrooms. We keep it private.
That's right.
Till next time, learn it, live it, experience it.
Love life.
If you receive any value from this conversation, comment, subscribe, and share as we continue to impact more people and take them to the next level.
And please send us your comments and questions so we could answer them in the next podcast.
See you in the next episode.